Welcome back, everyone. I am very excited to welcome our next guest to the show. You may have seen him featured several times in the Tampa Bay Times. Jeffrey Hess is the owner of Old Northeast Jewelers, both in Tampa and St. Petersburg. He does this wonderful segment called What's It Worth? And we are so happy to now do that segment on the Morning Blend. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm very, very pleased to be here. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, let's first start with your company. Give us a little bit of background about what it is that you do. And I know I'm excited to hear and learn more about Rolex this morning, but let's start with your company first.
Sure. We're kind of known as the Tampa Bay Luxury Watch Headquarters. We have a store in St. Petersburg that's been there for about 30 years. And about 10 years ago, we opened up a beautiful store over at International Plaza behind Godiva Chocolate, right underneath Tiffany and Company. And it's pretty easy to find, a little bit hidden away, but a lot of people know us for our luxury watches and our vintage diamonds and all of the estate jewelry that we do. But of course, a lot of you have already been there, and if you haven't been there, you need to stop by.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rolex. And I feel like that is certainly a name that people have loved for years now, probably one of the most, if not the most popular brand in watches. What do people need to know when they're trying to figure out what it's worth and about the company itself?
Well, thank you for that. We're going to go right down to the little table here, if at all possible. We're going to look at some Rolexes here. They look a little bit the same. I think today's segment should be called How Not to Make a $50,000 Mistake. Now, you've got two Rolexes here that look a little bit alike. We are experts on Rolex, and if we could pan over to the book that I wrote, if you type into Google Jeffrey Hess Rolex Bible, you'll bring up probably 10,000 hits. We're not just regional experts, but we're international experts on Rolex. You talked about what's it worth. That's a column we write every Sunday, as you alluded to, in the Tampa Bay Times. Been doing it for about 5 years, and we write about everything vintage, everything modern, anything connected with jewelry or antique jewelry or diamonds or sapphires or whatever. But today, let's go back to the Rolexes. Here are a couple of seemingly similar watches. And they're both Rolex Submariners, and Rolex Submariners are very, very hot. Now, this is a more modern incarnation made in, I would say around the year 2000. And it's worth about $5,000. It's made out of stainless steel. It runs. It's a nice watch. It's used, but Submariners are very, very popular. Here's an older one without a calendar. Now, these are very popular today. You see the calendar is usually located here, but there's no calendar. This one happens to encompass just about every possible good thing you can have in a vintage watch, typically anywhere from $4,000 to $9,000. This one we paid $50,000 for. That's a lot of money. This one happens to encompass just about everything. First, it's the coveted 5512 reference number, which is located up here. You're not going to be able to find it until you take it apart. Secondly, it has gilt markers all the way around the edge. That adds an extra 1,000 or two. It has what we call pointed crown guards. That adds an extra 1,000 or two. It has the original bracelet, adds an extra 1,000 or two. Also, it has a scarce, what we call an underlined dial. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little underline underneath the words, one of the words there. Now, that's a very, very subtle little difference, but that adds an additional $10,000 to $15,000. Now, additionally, when you add the fact that this old 5512 watch, that it has the original box and papers, and you've got a perfect quinfecta, as I call it, in the world of watches. You've got the great reference number, the great dial, the great crown guards, and the box and papers. That means we paid $50,000 for this. And yes, we're going to make a profit. We're going to sell it for 55, maybe 60 if we're lucky. But this watch and this watch, the two watches are seemingly similar, and most people around Tampa Bay are going to offer you $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 for any Submariner. But this Submariner is worth a ton more. That's one of the reasons why you need to visit us at Old Northeast Jewelers in St. Petersburg on 4th Street, or over in International Plaza behind Godiva Chocolate, right underneath Tiffany. So if you have a vintage Rolex, come to the people you can trust, the people that know what it's worth, and the people that can pay you what it's worth. And by the
Well
way, we
said,
know-
Jeffrey, we're out of time, and I appreciate it because, yeah, let's put up your contact information. And I know you, this is just scratching the surface of what you can help people with. Thank you for your time. We look forward to doing more segments with you.
Bye-bye.
All right, there is the number and the website to get more information.